What if I told you in a matter of 8 days, one person running for president has an assassination attempt and the other person running for president drops out the race completely? Who would have thought that? In the words of Don King, only in America. But we're going to talk about why the decision by President Biden, who knows he's going to stay president a little bit longer. We don't know that. But we're going to talk about how that affects the stock market. And the last time this happened, back in 1968, what did the market do after that? Very important when it comes to investing. We don't know what's going on from a guarantee standpoint. The market goes up and down, but the market has a strange way of repeating itself. We're going to go over what happened in 1968 and how we already have some similarities with the market without people knowing that Biden was going to drop out the race. Before we get started, as always, like, share, subscribe. We're going to go over some information right now so we can make some painful profits with your host, Mario Payne, the certified financial planner, doing this for 17 years, a CFP for 11 years, manage over $250 million in assets. But today, we're going to go over information that might give you an edge in these crazy political times. Lego, where are my profiteers? Slideshow time. Last time this happened was in 1968 when then President Lyndon B. Johnson said, you know what? I'm done. When did it happen? As I got an alert that popped up, March 31st, 1968. So we're now almost in August. So some time has went by from when he opted to not rerun or go and run again compared to when Biden elected. But we have some similarities when it comes to the stock market. Now, a little bit different for Biden compared to what it was for Lyndon B. Johnson, right? He was going through a whole bunch of stuff politically. Now, we could say what about Biden's age? Should he have ran in the first place? A lot of people wish he would have gotten out after the midterm elections. Heck, a lot of people thought that he shouldn't have ran in the first place. We can have arguments about that all day. But, the economy, it's not the best, but it's definitely not the worst. Unemployment's really at a 40-year low, and the market has had 41 record days this year. So besides inflation, which is horrible, the economy is pretty cool. Lyndon B. Johnson, he had a lot of stuff going on that was not so good. Between the Vietnam War, just ridiculous. I don't even know why we was in the Vietnam War. Nobody does. So many casualties for what? We don't know. Ridiculous. And then, of course, the Civil Rights Movement was not the best person. Even though he did help with the Civil Rights Act in 1968, a lot of people say that he could have did a far better job easing the tensions from a civil rights standpoint that he just did not do. So a lot of pressure for him not to run. He saw the penny on the writing on the wall, which that he was not going to be reelected. He didn't want to have that shame. Now for Biden, I think it's more health reasons. Now, yes, the betting markets, as we talked about, basically said that he was not going to win either. It was like a 71% chance that Trump was going to win. If you look at the Electoral College, this was more like a 76% chance Trump was going to win. So definitely, I think Biden saw the writing on the wall. But Lyndon, he was like, adios, amigos, adios. But my profiteers, when he made the announcement, now, of course, in the 60s, late 60s, information did not go to everybody as quick as it was. Literally, when the tweet was made by Biden, it was YouTube channel after YouTube channel with their instant analysis. In the late 60s, we had ABC, CBS, and NBC. They didn't have Fox back then, right? So information was disseminated to individuals a lot longer. But the week after, the market went down about 3.5% because the market does not like instability, right? When things are unstable, the market does not like that. Now, we have events that happen every single day. We are at an information undertaking that we never had before. It's so much information that you get in a day that you would have never got. Well, actually, in an hour. You probably get so much more information in an hour than what you would get in a day back in 1968. But the market did go down for the next week. But my profiteers, history has a strange way of repeating itself. And we're going to look at the charts to see what happened to the market after March 31st, 1968. I'm talking about weekly, April 8th, and what happened with the rest of the market after that. Well, as you can see, my profiteers, look at here, right? This is when he made the announcement. Made the announcement and boop, and look at that pop in the 60s, right? Man, if they knew about technical analysis then, boy, oh boy, man. And just imagine with the market being at a high of 93, this is the S&P 500 being at 93. I don't think anybody in 1968 would ever fathom the market being over 5,500 points on the S&P 500. That's just like we probably can't fathom 40 years, 50 years from now, the S&P being at 80 or 90,000, which, you know, if things continue like they are, will happen because history repeats itself. The market historically goes up over time. But look at this. After that downtrot, the market bounced around, right? Bounced around. It went down. Typically, it does go down in July and August. And then we had September. And historically, what happens by the end of the year, it goes up, which it did before going down in January of the next year. But it was up by 14.4%, my profiteers, meaning all the noise, and it was not as much noise in the late 60s than it is today, but all the noise of instability, what's going to happen with the market, what's going to happen with the Democratic Party, who are they going to elect, it's no way that they can win, what's going on overseas, how is that going to affect our tension with China at the time and Russia, which we still have the same tension years later with China and Russia. It was so much information, negative information, going into that summer. They had fights, arguments, and all-out brawls during their convention in 1968 because they could not pick who they wanted, right? The summer of hell, excuse my French, but the summer of hell, what people called it, because of the contested election. We might have a contested election now with the Democrats. So it is some similarities from an investment standpoint. Also, as well, how the market was peaking. You know, I like to draw these lines, right? So yellow is oversold. Red is caution. Blue is kind of the sweet spot when you want to buy when things are trending up. And green is overbought. Well, my profiteers, we was basically rebounding and we was overbought. So the market at that time was overbought and still going up. Similarities to today, yes, because today the market, even though it has corrected itself the last few days, it is extremely overbought. But if history repeats itself in a time like this, it doesn't matter, y'all. It just not matter. And this is why. As we can see, this is the market, right? Again, the green line, above the green line, right? And we are up for the year using the weekly charts. Yes, we had a couple days, right? Not a lot. Not a lot of days that was red from a volume standpoint this year. A lot of good days. Now, yes, the market was down last week, but it was actually more buying volume than selling volume. So even though the market went down, the bulls were winning from a volume standpoint. So what does that say? That says that yes, it probably will be the market going down the next few days, maybe the next weeks, because of course we have rotation out of S&P 500 into small cap. So for the second half of the year, you might want to look into small cap companies, right? That's one thing to think about. The second thing to think about is it might be a repricing, because the thought process was that if Trump wins, he's going to slash interest rates, cut them down from a Fed standpoint, right? It's going to be more drill, baby, drill from an energy standpoint. If it is a Democrat being elected, they probably will slowly but surely lower the Fed. So the Fed now does not have to be political. So they actually might lower rates in September. The thought process, they might not, because of course they don't want to look political, but because of now this new energy, they say it might be a chance that they won't look political. I would imagine that rates will be cut in September. That's also good for small caps. That means long-term treasury bonds will probably go up in value if yields go down. So that'll be a good thing for your long-term treasury bonds. But from the market standpoint, I believe second half of the year, it's going to be a lot of noise. But where we are today with the market being at 5,500, I believe the market's going to be well above 5,500 by the end of the year. Now, does that matter? from a who gets elected standpoint, I don't think it does. I think the market priced in Trump being elected. It might be some correction. It might be some sector rotations, hedging against Biden. I'm sorry, not Biden, but Trump losing and Harris being reelected. Not reelected. Whoa, Mario. Not being reelected, but elected. Now, if she is president because Biden bows out, which a lot of Democrats are hoping to happen so that she has time to be a president. So you can say, hey, she's an incumbent. Psychologically, you're voting for an incumbent compared to a person doing a job for the first time. So we'll see if that happens. But from a market standpoint, I believe that the market will take a dip here, but end of the year, the market's going to be higher. So you might want to buy the dip. And things to look into from an investment standpoint, small caps, and some of those interest-bearing investments that will probably go up in value if the Fed, who won't be looked at as playing politics anymore, cuts rates in September. So my profiteers, what do we think? We think the market's going to take a nosedive. Do you think it really matters who gets nominated from a Democratic standpoint because Trump has so much of a lead right now between the Biden wherewithal and also the assassination plot that did not happen? Or do you think the Democrats now have newfound hope in Vice President Harris or somebody else? We don't know. I know one thing. Information happens, events happen, but the market is always going to be the market. Ups, downs, downs, up. We could take advantage of it to make those painful profits. But comment below. What do you guys think? Also, hit that below. Join our Patreon as we have our weekly newsletter. We give great information. As you know, I'm a certified financial planner. Been doing it for over 17 years, a CFP for over 11 years, but we give insights to individuals who subscribe in our Patreon newsletter. And the slide that we just went over, a deep dive into that slide, is going to be available to our Patreon members as well. So love is love. Let's stay prayed up in this time of craziness right now. And as always, let's make some painful profits together, y'all. Peace.
And you just wanna get paid, tired of making the money mistakes. Make a payment on your bills and you still late, yeah. Pay for profits to help you seek change, and you just wanna get paid, yeah. Tired of making no money mistakes. Make a payment on your bills and you still late, pay for profits to help you seek change, yeah. Cut the show and just listen. You wanna feel empowered by making money decisions. Residual by the hours can get you a better living. Bitch at the check, and it could be different,